Listen to this segment of a CBS interview with Bill Nye and just forget for a moment about the issues pertaining to the debate between evolution and creation or young earth creationists, or forget any of that. Just listen to the manner the issue is being dealt with, which is what? They're literally on national media laughing at Christianity, laughing at the Bible, laughing at creationists.
But whatever you feel, the earth is not 6,000 years old, and there was not a flood with every tree on earth underwater 4,000 years ago.
There weren't animals 2 by 2?
No,
okay.
You can't do it.
Okay, but no.
Mount Ararat is snow-covered. You can't hop from there to Australia.
No, all morning we've been teasing.
You know this expression, the lilies of the field do not toil, do they spin? They work pretty hard to make flowers. You look at a dandelion, it's working as hard as it can to make a flower. It's important to them.
And by the way, Bill Nye, that's not just a saying. It's an actual quotation from the Bible. And you think that it's wrong because flowers work hard to produce what they produce, which is not a fact. They are programmed, they are designed, they contain information, and that is what they do. But in any regard, can you imagine any media figure of any name that is on the national broadcast making fun of any faith besides Christianity? Any. Can you even imagine if that happened? Okay, that is the issue. How this just doesn't surprise us. Let's laugh at those dumb Christian creationists. Let's put down the Bible. I mean, we know our president has done it. No, of course. He makes fun of the Bible and praises the Quran.
And moreover, given the increasing diversity of America's populations, the dangers of sectarianism are greater than ever. Whatever we once were, we are no longer a Christian nation, at least not just. We are also a Jewish nation, a Muslim nation, and a Buddhist nation, and a Hindu nation, and a nation of non-believers. And even if we did have only Christians in our midst, if we expelled every non-Christian from the United States of America, whose Christianity would we teach in the schools? Would it be James Dobson's or Al Sharpton's? Which passages of Scripture should guide our public policy? Should we go with Leviticus, which suggests slavery is okay, and that eating shellfish is an abomination? Or we could go with Deuteronomy, which suggests stoning your child if he strays from the faith. Or should we just stick to the Sermon on the Mount, a passage that is so radical that it's doubtful that our own Defense Department would survive its application? So before we get carried away, let's read our Bibles now. Folks haven't been reading their Bible. Democracy demands that the religiously motivated translate their concerns into universal rather than religion-specific values. What do I mean by this? It requires that their proposals be subject to argument and amenable to reason. Now, I may be opposed to abortion for religious reasons, to take one example, but if I seek to pass a law banning the practice, I can't simply point to the teachings of my church or evoke God's will. I have to explain why abortion violates some principle that is accessible to people of all faiths, including those with no faith at all. Now, this is going to be difficult for some who believe in the inerrancy of the Bible, as many evangelicals do. But in a pluralistic society, we have no choice. Politics depends on our ability to persuade each other of common aims based on a common reality. It involves compromise, the art of what's possible. And at some fundamental level, religion doesn't allow for compromise. It's the art of the impossible. If God's spoken, then followers are expected to live up to God's edicts, regardless of the consequences. Now, to base one's own life on such uncompromising commitments may be sublime, but to base our policy making on such commitments would be a dangerous thing. And if you doubt that, let me just give you an example. We all know the story of Abraham and Isaac. Abraham's ordered by God to offer up his only son. Without argument, he takes Isaac up to the mountaintop, he binds them to the altar, raises his knife, prepares to act as God commanded. Now, we know things worked out. You know, God sends down angel to intercede at the very last minute. Abraham passes God's test of devotion. But it's fair to say that if any of us leaving this church saw Abraham on the roof of a building raising his knife, we would at the very least call the police and expect the Department of Children and Family Services to take Isaac away from Abraham. No matter how religious they may be or may not be, people are tired of seeing faith used as a tool of attack.
Yeah, oh, that's granted. But think about that. Why is Christianity the one and only acceptable faith to besmirch openly and publicly and in the media internationally? I mean, nationally. I would say it's because it's the true one, and it's the one against which everyone rages. Just consider their attitude. The attitude, not only their attitude, but the attitude of the producers and the people who give all the go-aheads to say, yeah, of course, put that on the air. Besmirching Christianity, creationists, Christians in the Bible. That's perfectly acceptable, of course. But what about, I don't know, let's say Islam? Oh, you better make sure that you qualify everything you ever say about Islam, but making sure that we claim that Islam means peace, which it does not, it means submission, that not all Muslims are terrorists, even though no one has ever claimed that all Muslims are terrorists, that Islam is a peaceful religion. Let's make sure that we pad ourselves and we buttress our statements and we qualify them and we're utterly respectful of the holy month of this and the holy holiday of that. Make sure. But Christianity, who cares?
There weren't animals 2 by 2.
No, they're...
Okay.
You can't do it.
Okay, but no.
Mount Eric, you can't do it.
Okay.
You can't do it.
Okay.
You can't do it.
Okay.